years old, she decided to tell the cops she was the one driving, and she took the rap and was arrested. The defendant agreed to pay her back all the money she was out by getting arrested. She and her father started paying, and then suddenly stopped. And that's just not right with all she's done for her. She's suing for $2,486, the amount she's still owed. These are the defendants, Elizabeth and Richard Kennedy.
Elizabeth came, picked me up. We went out, we were drinking.
How did you two know each other?
We had been friends for years. I mean, she was like a sister to me. She was at all my kids' school events, Christmases, Thanksgiving. I mean,
how old are you?
Everything. I am 32 years old.
How old is she?
She's 22.
Okay.
And so we had become close, and we were out drinking. I was going through a bad breakup. We were severely intoxicated. Her boyfriend lived about 2 blocks away. I wanted to walk, she wanted to drive. She got in the car, she drove, she hit a tree, and my first instinct, I mean, like I said, she was closer than a sister, was I already had a DUI. I didn't have a car, I didn't have the money, I was severely depressed, was to tell her to run and to tell the cop that I was driving.
Why?
Because I loved her, and I just...
Was she your lover?
No.
Okay.
No, I loved her like...
Well, I wouldn't do that for a lover. I'm trying to understand why. Why would it be a good idea for you to take a second DUI where they're a lot more serious with you instead of the person who was driving and crashed taking a DUI?
I was drunk. It seemed like the right thing to do. It seemed
How could that ever seem like the right thing to do? Why? How would your mind process it that way? Who's the gentleman next to you?
That's Justin. He's a mutual friend. So her and her father had acquired a lawyer. When we went to court...
To a lawyer for who?
For us.
No, there's no lawyer for us. Your interests are diametrically opposed. Who was your lawyer?
We had a lawyer in common because at that time we decided that our interests...
How could a lawyer represented both of you? Because that lawyer needs to be disbarred. He has 2 clients with a complete conflict of interest. Why is it that you would listen to a lawyer they pay for, and when he says, I'll plead guilty, you go ahead and you do it?
Well, because the lawyer came to us and the lawyer told us that if she told the truth and I was still found guilty, that we would both go to jail for perjury. And Justin was there when he said it, when his representative, who was a female, told us...
Whose representative?
The lawyers.
What does that mean?
He sent a co-counsel. She told us that Elizabeth would go to jail for perjury if she told the truth, and I was still found guilty.
That would be filing a false police report, which I think is a misdemeanor. And it's no more serious a misdemeanor than the one that you were taking a rap for that, according to you, you're not guilty.
Right. So we all sat down, and we discussed it, and... They assured me, her and her father and her boyfriend at the time sat down with me and my daughter's father, and they assured me that they would pay all the surcharges and everything else. That way we wouldn't get in the trouble that this lawyer was telling me we would get in. So Elizabeth's father paid the initial payment in court. I have a receipt from that.
What did you plead guilty to?
A DUI.
What was your sentence?
My sentence was 2 days locked in an IDRC.
How many kids you got?
At the time I had 2.
Were you pregnant? How many do you have now?
I have 3 now.
2012.
Yes.
Okay.
So she was going to watch the children for me because I left my children with her on multiple occasions. As I said, she was like a sister. So I had 2 days lockup, 180 hours of community service, $1,000 a year.
Were they going to do the community service hours for you too, or you had to do those?
She was supposed to watch the children while I went to community service, but sometimes she showed up, sometimes she didn't. But the original payment in court was made by her father. Every other payment in court was made by her father. Every surcharge payment was made by her. In May, when she was no longer staying in my house, I emailed her.
You two had a falling out. What was your falling out over?
Over her boyfriend.
Why?
Because her boyfriend was staying with me. It was my daughter's father. My daughter's father's brother was staying with me. She was staying as well. And they developed a relationship, and he was staying with me because he was homeless. He had nowhere else to be. And she would want to, like, take him to the lake for the weekend and take him here. And I was like, he's homeless. Like, homeless people don't go on vacation. You know, I mean, it's not complicated. And if he's going to live in my house, he has responsibilities.
How long has she lived with you?
She stayed with me for about 6 months. Initially, it was supposed to be a couple weeks after my daughter was born. And then it just trickled.
So she moved out. Did you ask her to leave, or did she move out?
I kicked him out. When I kicked him out, she went with him.
Sweetheart, who was driving?
She was.
She. And you had agreed to what?
To help her make the payment.
Why?
Mesothelioma victims and their loved ones may be in...
Justin was not present in any kind of agreement. He is not the person who took us to the courthouse to speak to any police officer.
Sweetheart, who was driving?
She was.
She was. And you had agreed to what?
To help her make the payments.
Why?
Because she was my best friend, and because I knew that as a single mother of 2 children that I watched while she went to work to take care of them, that she was not financially capable in any way.
So what did you pay?
I paid...
What did Daddy pay, first of all?
The initial court payment.
How much did you pay, sir?
I have no idea. $100 or $200, I don't know.
$100 to $200. How much was the initial court payment?
It was $200. I have the receipt.
All right. So your father decided to pay, and why did you pay for something somebody else did? In your car, no less, because she crashed your car, right?
Yes.
So did she total it?
Yes, we took.
So here she is. She's drunk at the helm and totals your car, and just out of the goodness of your souls, you pay for her fees?
They had worked out whatever they were doing. I was unaware. Well, I knew they were...
Well, what's to work out? What's to work out?
That I wanted to help her with her payments.
So I just wanted to help.
What's to work out? That's just, you just do it the day you feel like doing it, and you try, I'm going to help you out, honey. And you help her out. What's to work out if you weren't the driver, honey?
Because he didn't approve of me making any payments.
Who?
My father.
Then don't.
Well, no, but that's, I'm assuming what he means by working.
Why are you in court and he in court? And did you hire a lawyer?
I did.
Who did you hire the lawyer for?
For the 2 of us.
What are you? What's your problem? You weren't driving. She totaled your father's car. What are you guilty of?
Because I left the scene of the accident.
As a passenger?
Yes.
So what happens that day?
Of the accident, we had been out drinking for hours at that point, and...
How did you 2 meet?
In an anonymous fellowship.
When you say anonymous fellowship, is it have to do with substance abuse?
Yes.
You met there and then you helped each other out by getting drunk together? Wake-up call or no wake-up call? How much more do we need? Do you have to be in the grave? All right, go on.
We went out, we got drunk,
How much did you guys have to drink?
I couldn't even guess.
Were you drunk?
Yes.
Who had driven that car there to start the evening? How did you get your father's car?
It was my car. It was registered in my father's name.
So was that car, were you living with her at the time?
No.
Okay, so where were you living at the time?
At my boyfriend's house.
And so that car was with you at your boyfriend's house?
Yes.
That's where you were living. Then you drove it over to pick her up to go party?
That's the assumption that I'm under. To be honest, I don't remember.
Oh, you don't even remember leaving your boyfriend's house?
No.
You were that drunk when you left your boyfriend's house?
Yes.
Do you remember why you would leave the scene if you were a passenger?
I don't remember much after the impact.
Why would you leave the scene? You guys don't think I was born yesterday, do you? What kind of idiot do you take me for? I was a prosecutor for a decade under Janet Reno. I cross-examined first-degree murderers. Do you think you are a challenge for me? You are a liar, your father's a liar, and the worst part is I expect to see you here. I never expected to see your father, who should be an example for you, standing here.
Hello.
Hi.
I'm Alex, Dr. Cooper's niece.
Welcome back to the People's Court, Harvey 11 here. So, do you believe this defendant was the one driving the car?
Of course. Why would the dad pay for it if she wasn't guilty? For 2 years.
For 2 years. So the plaintiff took the rap here. Was that kind of stupid?
It was stupid. Like, why?
But did the defendant drive that car? Was the defendant driving?
Maybe, maybe not.
Well, why would the father pay? What do you think?
Because she is guilty. Like, why else?
That's a pretty good reason. Okay, I'll settle with that, going inside the courtroom.
Why would you leave the scene if you are a passenger? What could you possibly get in trouble for as a passenger?
I don't know why I left the scene.
Stand up, please, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Talk to me. Did you go to the court?
Yes.
Were you present when they had discussions?
What I heard was that if Christy did not take the rep, that they would go to federal prison.
That's ridiculous.
I have emails from her stating that she'll pay it when she can. She always does.
From her?
Yes, if I pay it, can you pay the surcharge and keep track of the cost?
Hand them over.
And I'll just pay you back instead of letting it add up.
Why did you stop paying in May? Did you pay everything from the date this happened in November 2012 until May 2014?
Maybe missed a payment that she
Why would you pay everything for 2 years? What would possibly be the reason? See, I can only think of one reason, and that's that you're the driver. That is the only reason that would make sense. What reason do you want to persuade me of that you would turn around and pay every single fee of hers every single time like clockwork, like it's your obligation? Why would you do that?
Because
and why would Daddy pay $200 right there to make sure the deal went down?
Because if he didn't pay it, I would have, and I didn't have the money.
Really? What kind of idiot do you take me for? I was a prosecutor for a decade under Janet Reno. I cross-examined first-degree murderers. Do you think you are a challenge for me? You are a liar. Your father's a liar. And the worst part is I expect to see you here. I never expected to see your father, who should be an example for you, standing here. What should have happened that day is that 2 of you should have walked in, you should have told the truth, and you should have taken your medicine, none of which would have ever involved the feds. They don't care about you and your DUI and your lies. You got so duped by that half of the room. They were in it for what was good for them. That's what happened to you. You get it now? And then you pay every stinking time. But you look me in the eye and expect me to believe that that was just your niceness because you're so sweet? I order the defendants, both of them, since I believe that the both of them made this agreement, to pay the plaintiff the amount of $2,486. Furthermore, I have heard all of the facts of this case, and I'm making a factual finding that the defendant was driving and that she agreed and her father agreed to make sure to pay this. So you take that order with you in case somebody on that side decides not to do what they need to do based on what the rap they had you take for them. All right? And next time, open your head. Because your kids need you. They don't need this. Verdict for the plaintiff.
So after hearing that, the defendants come out into the hallway here. What have you learned from all this?
Did I get to go home?
Did you really expect to come in here and have the judge swallow that story?
No, I expected things to work out better than they did. And for, I don't know, for her to tell the truth, for things to end up differently.
You have any last words here before you leave the courtroom?
No.
What about you?
I'm happy with the way it turned out. I've sent her multiple emails just asking her to do the right thing, so this was the last thing I wanted to do on the face of the planet to someone I was so close to, but I'm glad that I don't have to swallow the cost for her.
Well, that's the money part. You're here now. You did have to do this, and what have you learned out of all this?
I've learned to let people accept the consequences